Live and direct, back on the big screen, we have Mushin, yes, a lot in the red corner, Viraj in the blue corner, for another episode of
Smoke Sessions Podcast. Heart FM. Can I do something from the jump
Please
that we've been discussing?
Be my guest.
Right, you little bastards. Most of you probably won't get to the end of this, so I'm going to say at the top, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, I know exactly where you live. YouTube gives me all those details.
You have been smoking this way too long.
You don't think it does? Try me. Like, subscribe, send it to all your friends. Thank you. Good night. That's the end of the podcast.
Is that it? Done?
Yeah, that's it. We can go home.
Okay, right. I have just spent 2 hours setting this all up, and you want me to go home now?
It took us ages to set up today.
This is very
We
true.
had children running around the house.
Good kids, though.
Congratulations, Viraj. You did the right thing and you quit your job.
I'm a free man.
Because what's the past tense of quit? Quate. You quit your job. Congratulations.
I think quit is the right. Don't try.
Idiot.
English is not your forte.
Well done for quitting your job there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Good man.
it. Everyone's been asking me, like, how does it feel? How does it feel? I'm just like, it's just another day. Am I supposed to feel something? I feel like I've got electricity coursing through my veins again as this week's kind of gone on from Sunday to today, Wednesday. I feel like a sense of clarity coming back. Like my eyes are wider. I'm like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed again. It's surprisingly nice. Like everything everyone says, when I'm able to hang on every word and be like, "Ooh, what does that mean?" And kind of, I feel a little bit more like my old self. Like I've got a bit more energy back.
Bit of freedom in you.
I think it might be freedom.
Remember, you moved out for a bit for this job. That was stupid.
Yeah, tell me about it.
That was way too big a sacrifice for such a crappy job.
I wouldn't say it's crap. I would say that I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't me, but it served a purpose. Like people say, "Oh, like congratulations on quitting a job that you hate." I didn't hate it. I just greatly disliked it because it wasn't what I wanted to do, but it served a purpose in allowing me to fund all of this. Like buy lights, buy mics, buy editing software, things like that. But now I'm able to do, or I've got time on my hands again, and I feel like I'm more creative. I feel like Peter Parker in Spider-Man 2, where he's lost his Spidey sense because he doesn't trust himself. And now he's back to trusting himself. The Spidey sense is coming back, like the Spidey tingle's coming back. That's how I feel. And it's so good. It's so good.
What are you going to do with your newfound freedom? Tomorrow you wake up. What's on the agenda?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to go see my mum. Have a chat with her. She's been away for a while.
Oh, she's back.
She's back in the country.
She's not at home yet.
She will be home now.
Oh,
she'll be home now. She got in today, so she's got to do her quarantine period in her room, and then I'll probably see her at some point.
Nice.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you very much.
Done the right thing.
We have a lot planned. I think first things first. We got some irons in the fire. We got some. Irons in the fire, but nothing is certain. I do want to kind of reevaluate my life and and look to next year and see what I can put together. See what I want to do, what I want to achieve by next year. Get all my ducks in order, and then just go hunting and let's just start knocking them down.
There's been a lot of progress this year.
Absolutely.
A lot of progress
for both of us, for all three of us, including our creative director, editor, aficionado Ali,
who's never here.
The sandwich boy.
Well, he's getting sacked, by the way. You heard it here first. Ali, if you're listening to this,
is so smooth.
I will find you and I will kill you. I've actually been putting on weight just so I can fight Ali in a fair fight. It's the only reason I've been putting on weight.
Is it?
Yeah. Make sure you clip this bit up, right? The only reason I've put on weight is so I can get to Fat Ali's weight class so I can knock him out in front of his friends and family.
What would you be in a weight class?
Right now?
Yeah.
I'd be chubby weight. I'd be the chubby weight world champion.
I think Ali's got you beat, mate.
Yeah.
I genuinely think Ali's got you beat.
Ali's fat, but he makes it look good. Maybe because he's always been fat.
Ali's just big boned.
No, he's also fat.
No, Ali's big boned.
Have you seen him topless?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fat.
Nah.
Yeah, he is.
Nah,
The
he's
fat has just hardened.
big boned, mate.
The fat has just hardened over time. So it's firmer, but it's still fat. It's just solid fat, which is probably worse.
Can I just say that this setup is so much better than last week's?
Do you think?
100%.
Yeah, do you
Last
like
week
it?
was too relaxed. Now I can look off in a direction and come back to you. It just feels more comfortable.
This is like a talk show.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Shisha me. Would you recommend people quitting their job if they don't like it?
If you're able to, and you know it makes financial sense to, yeah. If you've got priorities and things you've got to pay for, then no. I saved up enough money to tie me over. It doesn't help that Christmas and birthdays are up and coming, and you've got to buy presents for that. But such is the way of life. So there's not really much I can do about it. I've got enough money, like I said, to tie me over, and I've just got to push on with finding another job. Because, like, in essence, when you think about the whole like idea of a job, right? You spend 8 hours at work at some sort of place doing an action, and you get paid for it. It is the fastest way to get a huge amount of money in a monthly salary into your account. The next easiest thing is drug dealing. Not that I recommend that, but when you think about it, okay.
You heard it here first, kids. Become a drug dealer with Uncle Viraj. Is that why you were being so nice to my nephew and niece? Are you trying to line them up as runners?
Drug dealer of knowledge. But it's true, right? You get a huge amount of cash into your account straight away. And when I say huge amount, I mean, like you do, if you were to stack shelves at Asda, you can still make, is it like 15K a year?
No, more.
Or is it more? Or
you're a full-time. Aldi staff get like £13 an hour.
That's not bad. That's a salary that you can live on. If you don't have commitments, that's a huge amount of money very quickly. If you work
full-time.
What I would say though is that it does lull you into a false sense of reality. I feel if you don't have a drive and you kind of lose it, or you don't have a North Star and you lose it along the way, you can get stuck in a dead-end job. You can get stuck in a job that you dislike just because it puts money in the account and you're able to live off of that.
Just some quick maths that I did in my head. If you work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week at Aldi, you can make about 22K.
Oh, I didn't realize we're still on Aldi.
I was just, while you were talking, I was doing maths.
Quick math.
You can make 22K working full-time at Aldi, stacking shelves. That's not bad.
And it gives you a sense of a monotonous job that would give you potentially clarity if you were able to mentally automate the job. My head of sixth form did that, but after he finished his A levels and before he went and did his undergrad. Yeah, I think he said that he took a year off, stacked shelves just to kind of figure out what he wanted to do.
I always say, if you're a 16-year-old listening to this, get a part-time job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
1,000,000%.
I think even then, getting a part-time job so that you can work on other things.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it in this way initially, but like today I was thinking about it as I was finishing up my last day. I was like, someone's going to pay you to do work, and then in the free time you can then use that money on something else.
I think also doing a job that you dislike for a while is very healthy, especially when you're like 16 and you're working, I don't know, in retail or whatever, because then when you progress in life and you start doing a job that makes you feel more fulfilled, you will value that money much more, and that money will mean so much more to you because you won't be able to believe that you are getting paid to do something you would have done for free.
I don't know.
That's how I feel personally anyway.
I think you got to put 110% into the job, like all the time. You put 100% of your effort in, because if you don't, you're kidding yourself, right? But if you figure out you don't like the job whilst you're putting in 100%, that's all right? But then you've got to sit there and reevaluate, what am I going to do about it? Like I did. I was having mental breakdowns. I was crying like every other month, and as it came to an end, pretty much every other weekend, because I disliked it so much. I was just bottling it all up, and I'd break down and I'd cry, and I'd cry to my parents, and I'd sit there and I'd be like, yeah, I really, really don't like this, but I'm doing it because I need the money. I do need the money because I need to fund things. But that doesn't mean that I couldn't search for other jobs. That doesn't mean that I can go and reach out to people and be like, hey, have you got a job? Have you got any opportunities that I can take? And the power of just asking people is so important. Just be completely unegotistical about it. Be so what's the word I'm looking for? Not innocent, not candid. Oh Jesus, I've lost it. There's a word. Be so humble. Yeah, humble. Just be so humble as you go to someone and be like, hey, I'm thinking about leaving my job. Do you have an opportunity if I was to leave? And see if you can go through that process, right? Reach out on LinkedIn. Reach out to your family's connections. Just use them. Leverage the networks that you've got. And I truly do believe this in some capacity. Your net worth is your network, because you can leverage that. People can help
100%.
you, and just ask for help.
100%. I would say that to any young person, if you're looking to get into something, just ask someone who's already in it, because you'll be surprised how many people would be willing to just give you a shot.
So yeah,
let's say you wanna be a photographer, right? Find someone who does something in the entertainment industry or relevant to photography, and ask them to work for free for a bit.
with the idea that if you like this, can I be paid?
And you might get better. You'll have the
Yeah.
opportunity to get better.
Exactly. This is one of the things that I'm thinking about when it comes to producing this podcast. I want to go into either a university or a sixth form and say to a kid, boy or girl, whoever it might be, a man or woman, or whatever gender they are, hey, I've got an opportunity for you to have complete control of a podcast in terms of the way you want to cut it up, how you want to release it on social media. I will give you complete control of the strategy. Just run it by me when you're doing things, right? And if you want to be an editor and you don't want to create content, yeah, I am giving you the content. I'm giving you an opportunity to get it out there. I'm giving you a platform of individuals that want to watch this already, that talk about it, that are in comedy circles, that are in entertainment circles. Why wouldn't you take that opportunity so that we can get better, but also so that you can help grow us? It's like young Jamie. It's like, but our young Jamie is an editor instead of an individual that helps us fact check stuff.
I think a lot of people are put off doing stuff like that because they think it's going to be a lot harder than what it turns out to be.
But the thing that I need is time. I need time back, and the best way to get time back, I will happily pay you. We will happily pay you at Smoke Sessions, at a discounted rate, hopefully, so that you build some sort of equity in this. You learn, and you can potentially learn and prosper. And if you want to come full time eventually, and you've got stake, and you want to put some stake in the game, cool. If not, at least you've shown that you can show someone that you've edited this and you've grown this following and this YouTube channel and TikToks and whatever else from X to Y in the course of a year, and that shows a lot. Yeah. That shows a lot. And if you don't have that opportunity and don't have anyone to do it, build yourself a job description. Build yourself a spec for something, for a project, and go and do it yourself. So, for instance, if you wanted to become a podcast producer, right? Go and start a podcast with your phone, right? Talk into a camera, get people on, whatever, edit it yourself, and then put it out there, right? For the purpose of it being a project, just like coursework. That's what I'd say. And you know what? It's invaluable, the learnings you get. If you don't like it, you don't like it. So at least you can say, I tried, I didn't fail, I just found I didn't like it.
I absolutely agree with that, man. The problem is a lot of young people, they're scared of that process.
I was scared of that process. Yeah. I was scared of asking for help. I was scared of anything related to money.
I also think a lot of young people, they although they do have time on their hands, it's what you do with that time.
Yeah.
If you have an idea to start something at 16, but you don't start it until you're 22, well, imagine you started 6 years ago. How far ahead of the game? Like, I always knew I wanted to do comedy. It just took me too long to pull the trigger. Imagine I started at 16. If I started comedy at 16 when I first had the inkling that I wanted to do it, I would be in my 9th year of comedy.
And you're in your 2nd year now.
Yeah, put that in perspective.
And let's say
how much time was wasted.
Let's say that growth increases.
But you never know. You never know. That
9 years.
You never know.
And let's say you're playing the cards the same way, right? I personally believe that you could be on television in 9 years. You could be in
Yeah,
some sort of
easy.
TV
Yeah.
show, Jonathan Ross, whatever. You could be doing that in 9 years with the trajectory that you've used, using social media channels, doing the same thing that, you know, Munya did, for instance. You could definitely take advantage of stuff like that. You
Mhm.
would have, and you would have had people around you saying, Mussin, do this, Mussin, do that.
I get so excited when I meet like a comedian who's like 18 because I think to myself, mate, like I don't care how shit you think you are now, it doesn't really matter. You got so much time. I'm still young, very young for a comedian.
It's 25 young.
Yeah. Most professional comedians are in their late 30s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it would have been younger, like 28.
No.
Oh my, I'm skewed.
28 is when things normally start going a bit better for comedians. But most professional comedians on the circuit are over 35. It's hard to make a living from comedy, man. It's very hard.
Well, that's why you need a day job.
Yeah.
But you're in a very nice position where you've got a lot of time
Mhm.
to be able to fuel this passion, to be able to tweak it and cultivate it, which not a lot of people when they're 25 have. If you're working a job, a standard job, you've got a large chunk of time taken up. Take, for instance, Farhan.
Mhm.
Works a job, but does comedy as well. And comedy is a passion of his. He spends a lot of time at work having to think a joke. You are able to manage your life whilst you do your PhD in and around doing work.
Mhm.
Because a PhD is not a normal job, the way that
not,
you've
no.
structured yours. And you can have breaks where you have dedicated 2-3 hours of getting into a flow state where you can think of jokes, bounce them off people, come back, you know, tweak the joke, and you still have a bit more time on your hands
Mhm.
to go get a coffee and then sit down and do some PhD work. I know that because I've been on the phone with you as you do it.
Exactly.
You're in a very lovely position, and I think you're taking advantage of that, which is what you should be doing.
With the way my workday is structured, it looks, I think sometimes from the outside looking in, like I get this from my family, they were like, oh, what do you do? Like, we don't really see you working. It's like, even if I'm just sat around, that's because I'm thinking about what I need to do and
Which is
trying to work it out.
Which is what PhD is. You need to
yeah,
think.
PhD is working out problems. And a lot of the time, that's just set there like, just like thinking into thin air, like, well, what could I do here? What can I do there?
Well, think about a CEO. They are basically in that position because they think and make decisions that no one else makes decisions on.
The decision,
That's what they're paid to do. They're paid to make the high level decisions.
the options are brought to them.
Yeah.
And they
make
stamp off.
Exactly. They make an accurate decision on what it needs, what the direction of the company needs to go in, right? You do that for your PhD. Yours just requires a lot more, well, not a lot more thinking, but it requires thinking towards your PhD in Islamophobia and radicalization. For me, I need thinking so that I can come up with creative ideas that we can bring to this, but also in my personal content and looking at the domains that I'm interested in, the markets that I'm interested in, and seeing how I can leverage that and take advantage of that. So for instance, crypto, NFTs are having a boom right now. Like, why aren't I doing my NFT content? Why aren't I doing my crypto content? My podcast is popping up on people's most listened to.
You were rationing your time, that's why.
Yeah,
You wanted to spend more time doing this. Well, now because you don't have a job, you're an unemployed scumbag living off the government.
Oh, I wouldn't say living off the government, yeah.
That's what the rumor I'm going to spread.
I applied for Jobseeker's Allowance
before
my job, and there was a lot of forms to fill out. And I looked at them and I was like, no way.
How much does Jobseeker's Allowance give you?
I have absolutely no idea.
I think it's like 50 quid a week.
I've got no idea. And isn't it dependent on area as well? You have to be actively. I don't know what constitutes actively seeking a job.
You rock up to the Jobseekers Allowance place, job center, and you fill out a form saying, "Yeah, I am looking," and then you tell them where you applied. But you can make it up.
Really?
Yeah, you can make it up.
Interesting. I've never done that. I got all the forms sent to me, and it was like a pack, like came in a brown envelope about this thick, and I just looked at it and was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. There's like P13s and XYZs, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna continue looking for a job and just living off my crypto money.
People don't realize the sacrifices that go into doing a PhD, though. I don't think people realize the sacrifices.
Tell me, what are the sacrifices?
I could be making a lot more money right now than what I am. Like, I'm not saying that I want to be doing those things, but there are opportunity cost
Yeah, but
with everything.
what is it that you could be making more money in?
Let's say I went into like
Um,
a more traditional field, right? Let's say I went straight into work into a data like a company
Uh,
that does data analysis, right?
just to set context, you finished your undergrad and you also finished your masters,
hmm
and now you're in a normal job. This is the hypothetical world
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
living
yeah.
in, yeah? Okay.
Or even my undergrad. I could probably be on like 40, 50K right now, which I'm not on at the moment, right? But
40, 50K is a lot. Do you not? I'd scale it down. I think you'd be on like 30, maybe.
no, I reckon I'd be on more by now.
You think?
Yeah,
Is that based off the jobs that you've looked at?
yeah.
Okay.
And the trajectory of them, I'd have been working for 4 years. Finished
Okay.
my undergrad at 21, so 4 years later, I'd probably
Well,
be
I
on.
don't know a single one of my friends that's making 40K.
I know loads of people.
What
Maybe
that
your
have
friend,
done
maybe
their masters.
I think your
Fair
friends
enough.
are just bums from the sounds of it. They tell them to
Oh,
work harder.
don't do that.
I'm
Don't do
joking.
that.
Yeah, but also a lot of your friends are in creative spaces, so.
You'd be like a lot of my friends from high school aren't, from sixth form aren't. Well, they're on a trajectory to 40. But go on.
How I've made my PhD work is I don't have one single job that pays me enough money to live how I currently live. So what I have is I have lots of sources of income
Mm-hmm.
that aren't a lot on their own, but when you put them all together, I make the average amount a human being makes.
At your age.
Yeah,
Interesting.
through the different things I do.
How does your PhD work? Because one of the things when people say I do a PhD is I think about is like, how do you fund it and
Right.
how do you live without working?
Right. Okay. So here's how I make money, right? I don't even think you know how I make money, to be
I
honest.
don't. The only
Right.
thing I know you make money from is comedy.
Right. Okay. So here's how it works, right? So
But we could make more money if you were to like this video and subscribe to this channel so that we could get AdSense, right? And
Mhm.
then we can make more money and make this set even better. Thank you. Go on.
all right, I'll break down complete. Fuck it. I'm gonna break down my earnings, right? I don't think my missus even knows my earnings. No, she doesn't. She doesn't actually.
Really?
My family, no one knows my earnings. Right. So here's how it works, right?
Hot take.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So
You got an
here's
exclusive here.
how I make my PhD work financially, right? I get £800 roughly a month for teaching,
Okay.
right? And I teach once a week, right? So it's quite easy, right? In terms of time loads. I make another £500 from doing marking,
Okay.
right? So I mark stuff and I make around another 500 quid or so. And then every couple of months, I get support bonuses, right? From funders and stuff,
Interesting.
right?
Okay.
And then I get an extra few £100 a month from comedy money
How much on average
and speaking.
is comedy?
At the moment, I'll probably make like £200 to £300 a month.
You're shitting me.
What, you thought it was more or less?
I thought it was less.
I'll make around 2 to 3. Like this month, it was probably about 2 to
Oh,
300.
when you stack them, you make a nice, healthy monthly
It
income.
it adds up. It adds so all of. But do you see my point? If I only did the PhD, right, and the teaching, that's only £800. But because then I took these extra stuff, but I only take stuff that are flexible. So I've been offered stuff that are fixed contracts,
Which would pay more.
which would pay maybe, but
No,
they're
a
not
fix pays more than a
but they're not
flexi.
flexible when I can do it.
But you're
Ah,
paying for it. You want time.
okay, I feel like I fucked up this breakdown a little bit, so I'm gonna recap the breakdown. So this is how so we can make it into a clip, right? So this is how I make my PhD work financially.
Okay.
I get £800 a month from
Give
teaching,
or take. Yeah.
right? I make a few £100 extra from working as research assistants on other projects.
Okay.
I make another few extra £100 from marking per month because I sign up to do marking at the university, and then I get a couple £100 from comedy and stuff, and speaking appearances and stuff. So doing guest talking stuff about Islamophobia and misinformation and stuff like that. And all of that adds up to anywhere between 1,500 to £2,000 a month.
And how many outgoings do you have? Do you have a significant amount of outgoings or not?
Not really, no. So it works.
Oh, so you've really made this work for you.
So it was just about being smart and making it work financially. And I didn't have any of this plan. I just knew I wanted to do a PhD. And I was like, do the PhD, work it out as you go along. and just hope and pray that things are going to come across your table to make money. And they did. And now I can do essentially what I want and make the same amount of money as someone who would be working a fixed term contract
In the
somewhere.
facts. Because that's the ballpark of me.
Yeah.
That between that $2,000 and well, for me it's 1,500 to $2,000. That was my ballpark figure. So
Mhm.
I give up 8 hours of my day as a block, and I get paid that
Mhm.
a month. You structured it so you get more time, free time, and you get the same amount, which just shows that a PhD is a viable financial solution if you were to choose to do one.
The only day of the week where my time is fixed by a contract is the day I teach, and those are Fridays.
But let's be
And that's
realistic.
fine.
If we were to go into a pandemic again, would you still be paid? You would still be paid for that time if you were to do it on Zoom, yeah?
Last year, that's what happened. The entire year was
Well,
on
that's
Zoom.
perfect.
The
So you're
entire
able
year
to
was on
work
Zoom.
from home. You're able to be in and around the things you wanted to do, create the content you wanted to do,
and all of those things I can, especially with the comedy and the guest talking appearances, that's only going to grow.
and you want that only increases in prices the more
Mhm.
knowledge that you gain. You're in your what? Your third year of your PhD or second?
Mhm, third year.
How many years is your PhD going to run?
4 years.
4 years.
So listen, if you want to make something work for you, you absolutely can. Just sign up for it and work it out as you go along. That's what I did. I had no clue how I was going to make money when I signed up to do my PhD, but things come across your table and you just need to be a yes man. Say yes to opportunities and work it as you go along. So the teaching, right? The teaching might have been tricky this year because I was like, well, what if I have to do 2 hours of teaching in Bristol on a Tuesday and then on a Wednesday and then on another 2 hours on a Friday and have to go to Bristol 3 times a week?
Yeah,
That's not going to make it financially
because you're
viable.
going up and down, up and down.
I had a conversation with my manager and I said, can I put all my teaching blocks on one day? And she helped me and she said yes.
So you just spend the day in Bristol on
Yeah.
a Friday and you come back.
Yeah. So she,
Are you able to do some of your other work in terms of like like speaking engagements if you had one on a Friday whilst you're at uni, whilst you're in Bristol?
yes, funny you say that. I'm doing a presentation in my lunch break on Zoom.
Oh, perfect.
Easy. It's not a paid one, but that's an example. It's just
Yeah.
one I'm doing for my lab. I'm doing one for my team.
So you've structured your life so you get free time.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing.
I'm surprised we've never spoke about this.
It's a conversation that's never come up.
I've always felt like people have wondered, how does Mussin actually make... Ali's wondered that.
I've wondered
How
it
does
so many
Mussin make
times.
money? Like, what does he do to make money?
Because there's been times when I didn't have a job and you were working, like when I came back from India, you were doing your comedy gigs, or I'm not sure if they were paid, but you were
No,
still
not
doing
back then, no.
you were still doing your PhD, and I was a bit like, how is this guy able to pay for a shisha
Mm.
for me? And a shisha, like, is 25 quid. That's still a lot of money. Like, even if it's split 2 ways. And we were doing that like 3 times a week, and I was like, oh, how, like, what is he doing? Is he drug dealing? Is he doing something else?
My first year of my PhD, I was on a fixed contract,
Right.
but my timing was flexible. So I had no work hours, but I
Right.
had a monthly contract with people. I can't say with who, but I had you know with who,
Yeah.
but whatever. And they were paying me 36K a year, and I didn't have to work any work hours. Like, obviously I worked, but I didn't have to work on their time. I worked on mine, and because we're in a pandemic, I just used that opportunity to save.
That's
So I saved
perfect.
over half of my earnings per month, which gave me like a cushion.
Oh, so you basically did what? Yeah, so you did what I thought investment banking was going to be for me. You just squeezed it all into a year. You took the high-paying job, but I'm not saying you took it, but you used that
I used
time
that money to give
effectively.
myself a little bit of a cushion. So that year I saved about 14 grand. And that gave me a little bit of a cushion.
You were really minting it that year then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
What,
I-
24 years, 23 years old?
22, maybe.
22 years, and you're coming out on a 36K salary, 36-ish K salary. That's a lot of money straight up.
Yeah, and it worked.
Because I came out of uni.
But it doesn't matter, Viraj. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you spend like a dickhead,
True.
it doesn't matter. If you're okay, this is what people say, right? let's say you're on 30K a year. No, let's go even lower, right? Let's say you're on 22K a year.
Yep.
But because you were on 22K a year, you were worried about money, so you saved half of it.
Yep.
So you have 11K in your bank account. The next year, because you did a wicked job that year at your job, they gave you a ridiculous pay rise, and now you're on 40K. But because you've never seen that money before in your life,
You have lifestyle inflation.
exactly, and then you spend 38 of it, and you only save 2K that year, you've just made yourself worse off.
Because you've got used to that life and you don't
Mhm.
want to go back. And that's what most people don't like. It's like when you get a high paying job, your lifestyle increases. You buy the Mercedes.
Mhm.
You start maybe driving a sports car. You start going out to fancy restaurants. You buy designer clothes. You start buying a new iPhone. You put a lot on your monthlies.
It's why a lot of athletes go broke. Because
Yes.
they have an incredibly expensive lifestyle and they don't make good decisions during their career to support them for the remaining 40, 50 years of their life.
Because your earning span is like less than 20 years.
Mate, less than that. For an average athlete,
15, 10.
10. 10 if you're lucky.
You're cramming 10 years into prime earning ability.
Do you mind looking up quickly
Go on.
the average NBA career? The
Yeah,
length
sure.
of an average NBA career.
Go
What
on.
do you think it is?
I think the average NBA career is, if you start at 18,
Mhm.
because that's what it is now, and I would say 15 years. So you get to 33.
I'm going to say 5 years.
5 years,
Or for
okay.
less. It's going to be less than 5 years.
Average and
You're thinking about the basketball players who do well and stay in the NBA.
yeah, play the
But
game.
most of them end up in the bloody Greek league.
Okay, average NBA career length. Throughout the years, there have been 4,509 players in the league throughout the NBA's history. Yeah, and if you look at both ends of the spectrum, roughly, drum roll please,
Mhm.
4.5 years.
Exactly.
4.5 years
And those guys, right?
are not on massive salaries.
They're on minimum contracts, so they're making about 1 to 2 million before tax.
And just so that we're clear with where our source of information was, we got this of dunkorthree.com.
What's the minimum salary in the NBA?
Oh, okay, let me search that up. Min salaries. It's the veteran minimum, which is 100K, I think.
What's the minimum rookie salary?
Min rookie salary. NBA. For example, a rookie who signed minimum rookie for 20. Let's go for 21-22, and this is on Hoops Rumors. Just under $1 million.
Right. Okay. So you're on a minimum rookie salary, right? You don't renegotiate. You leave after 3 years because it doesn't work out. You made $3 million before tax. Taxman gets half of that. You made $1.5 million. That
Yep.
is not enough to live off for the rest of your life.
Nope. Not even if you play your cards right. And to put that into context, Stephen Curry, as an NBA salary, earns $45 million
Yeah, but he's
a year.
one of the best players of all
Top of
time.
his game. Top of his game. I think you've just got to look at your lifestyle and look at where you want to be in life, and just be like, okay, I need to think about how I'm spending. I realized that during the pandemic, or during the time where I wasn't, to begin with, where I wasn't working, I was spending too much money, way too fast. And I was dabbling with money in crypto, which was kind of like funny money, because I'd invested it years ago and it was now worth X amount. My holdings had gone up massively during the boom at the start of the year. I was like, oh shit, I'm rich. Like, I've got more money in my life savings than most people have. This is great. I could put down a deposit on a house if I wanted to. But mentally, I was spending like I had that money, and then realized that actually, if I keep checking it off and squaring things off in that manner, I'm going to go broke very fast. So when my salary came around and I was working and doing this job that I disliked, I made sure I put just over 25% of my salary into investments.
That's right.
Right. To begin with, it was just crypto. And then I split it up so that just over 25% went to crypto, as well as stocks and shares. And I haven't really done any alternative investing because I didn't pay any time to do that. Although I think that's a viable option if you've got money.
So I've got.
On that note, I wouldn't spend money that you don't have.
So I've got.
Or you're willing to lose.
About $3,000 to $4,000 sat in an investment account. and that's money I can't touch.
Mhm.
Rainy day money.
Right.
I'll only withdraw that money if shit's hit the fan and I need cash to keep me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You always have a rainy day fund. I'm very much big on crypto and very big in terms of like the macro view of it and where it's going to go. So I have a lot of my holdings of the cash that I hold in crypto.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that's for everyone. I just live in a family where I've been privileged enough to be able to say to my parents and be like, look, I'm going to do this. If shit hits the fan, will you back me? And they said, yeah. So I'm able to make that risk. And my risk tolerance is slightly higher because I live at home. I
Mhm.
don't have massive overheads. I don't have a house. You know, I don't pay monthlies on a car. I try and keep my my monthlies to a minimum or as low as humanly possible. So I'll buy my phone outright, secondhand, pre-owned. And that's the life I've chosen to live. So I can spend money on other things like kit, cameras, going out and networking at comedy shows or going to dinners with people that I think are, you know, going to be long-term relationships and building those. You're surprisingly good at that. How's the flavor?
I really enjoy doing that. You should clip that up.
I
You
will clip
talking
that.
and just me
I
going.
will clip that up. I will clip that
I'll
up.
caption
don't
it when your friend's talking about something important, but shisha is life.
worry.
Well, you're privileged enough to have that financial education that a lot of people don't have. So if you're a young guy, right, and you've
Or go. Let's not be discriminatory.
yeah, sure.
Shisha me.
If you're a young guy or gal and you haven't grown up around money, you've not really had a financial education, you don't have any wise heads around you, and for whatever reason you've hit the big time in the entertainment industry or the music industry, whatever, right? You have a massive amount of money, like you're on the NBA rookie contract, you're making $1.5 million a year. If you have no one telling you what to do with that money, good luck.
Go find someone. Go get yourself a financial advisor, or go and educate yourself. Find individuals that are willing to teach you, or go find sources of information that are willing to so go and find sources of information that you're interested in that teach you how to be financially literate. That is one of the biggest things that I think kids these days don't get enough of. Do you know how a mortgage works? Do you know how a mortgage is structured? Because I had no idea up until about 2 years ago.
I do.
I didn't
Yeah.
know how like my parents' mortgage was structured until I sat down with my dad and was like, how does this work?
Mm.
And I don't think a lot of people sit down and do that. They just take the first thing that's on the table.
When I was 16, I got proper interested in mortgages and stuff and land. So I'd always one of my pastimes would be messing around with mortgage calculators. I really
Really?
enjoyed that, yeah.
Ah,
I'd love
interesting.
using mortgage calculators online. Bit nerdy. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an estate agent for a while. I liked that idea
Why?
because we'd get the local newspaper and there'd be ads for houses on sale.
Uh-huh.
And I'd be so interested in how much houses cost and what you can get for your money. And I'd just pretend I'd be living in the houses. What would I like?
I do that. I do that
Yeah.
on Rightmove.
Yeah, I go into Rightmove sometimes
and
and
I
just look
search in the
around.
local area and I see how far I can go out near train stations and look for investment opportunities.
House shopping looks fun.
Oh, house shopping
Yeah.
looks so much fun. But it's not. I don't think it's like the US. It's like the UK doesn't really do open houses,
No,
or they do. They just do them in London.
for auctions they do.
Do they?
Yeah, you can go view a open house or an auctioned house.
Interesting.
Yeah, Homes Under the Hammer, man.
Do you watch that?
I watch Mo Gilligan watching Homes Under the Hammer. It's so much more entertaining because he'll commentate it while he's watching it.
Why don't
and
you
cuss him.
do that?
I should do that. I should do stuff like that.
Live stream it instead of talking to me and messing around with my time and my day when I could be thinking about other things. Go and do that.
I should do that. This podcast is over. We're going our separate ways. It was lovely meeting you.
Pleasure.
Take care.
Take care, mate.
All the best.
We should get an estate agent on here.
Should. Mo did that as well. He did house tours.
I wanted to do that when I came back from India. One of the things that I wanted to do as part of my personal YouTube channel was a lifestyle series on going and living in different places and showing people how they can live in different environments. So whether that's on a canal boat in London or whether it's in a room in the smallest room in London.
Mm-hmm.
and just vlogging it and going through that process.
He didn't do that. He was literally just like linked up with a estate agent and viewed really nice houses in London.
That'd be sick, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that as well. I think there's a lot of people on TikTok doing that at the moment.
What I liked about those videos, right? He'd be like, go view these houses that cost like £2 million and stuff, and he'd be tripping out about how nice the houses were and how mad it would be to buy that house. And in my head, I was thinking, mate, you can afford this house.
When you think about it, though, right? When you purchase a house for 2 million, right? You look at the number and you're like, okay, 2 million all in. If I ever got to that amount of money, I could do it. But no one realizes the costs that come with a £2 million house. You got to pay stamp duty, whatever that is at the moment.
And maintenance of that house.
Extra maintenance on the house. A £2 million house usually has underfloor heating, which costs a lot. You usually have a pool, maybe a sauna. You probably have a cinema room, right? It adds up.
Yeah.
You know, these costs adds up. Lifestyle inflation.
Exactly.
And the market that we're in now.
You need a gardener. You need a housekeeper.
Exactly.
You need a maintenance guy.
And if you don't have all of that and you want to automate it, you got to pay for all of that.
If this house didn't have a gardener, it'd look like a wildlife sanctuary.
Why do you not do any manual work?
Why do I not do any manual work?
Yes, Mussin.
Feel my hands, Viraj.
Jeez, they're soft.
Exactly. I have the world's softest hands.
I think you need some work on your nails, though, to look like
These are the hands of a man who doesn't do manual labor. And I don't care. We all have our strengths in life. Okay? Like today, I put up the Christmas decorations. I hated it. I hate doing stuff like that.
Not a fan of putting up Christmas trees.
I can't stand manual labor. We all have our strengths in life. Changing light bulbs, not for me.
No twisting.
No,
Hurts
only when I'm at an Indian wedding.
Pat the dog, screw the light bulb, mate.
Yeah.
I don't think these light bulbs screw in, they clip in, don't they?
We're not going to talk about that on the podcast, Viraj. No one wants to hear about that.
I like your light bulbs.
Thank you, mate.
I just feel like they need some soft boxes on top to make them
Well,
light
welcome
nice.
back to the lighting podcast. Jesus Christ. But yeah, listen, I don't do manual labor. I think it's boring. I'd much rather just sit around and pay someone to do it and just smile and offer them a cup of tea like a lazy fucker.
You got too used to this lifestyle.
I always think my gardener thinks I'm lazy. Because to my gardener, like, he'll go past here, right, and I'll be laying there on my laptop and I'm working, and he must look at me and think, this fucker, it is 2 o'clock on a Tuesday.
But
and
do you
he's in
not
his
get a
pajamas.
joy out of doing any manual labor? Have you ever had to like help your gardener move a tree?
No.
I did that. It was probably one of the highlights of my day that day.
If my gardener asked me to help him, I would hide or make up an excuse. I couldn't think of anything worse.
Do you not enjoy it? Is there not a sense of like?
Not at all. Not at all.
Nah, I do like doing manual labor. I love putting things together with my hands.
I don't want to build anything ever.
So when you get do you buy from IKEA?
No.
Okay, I love putting an IKEA set together.
I couldn't think of anything worse.
I absolutely love it. Sit down, put down a carpet or a mat, build the thing.
Couldn't think of anything worse.
You know, I line everything up. I put all the screws in order, count them all, make sure they're all there. I love it.
Just put me in front of my laptop, right? I'll do a nice little reference list for an essay. Lovely. Sit there.
Oh, I couldn't think of anything worse.
That's nice to me. I like checking references. I'm that guy. I like doing a little bit of coding. I'll write a nice little paragraph. 180 words. No more than 30 words per sentence. Lovely. Right? Nerdy things. I'll read an article. Now, doing the dishes, changing the light bulb, fixing a shed door, I might cry. It's not for me.
Do you even have a shed?
No.
You should put together a shed, Muhsin. I think you'd enjoy that one day.
My thing is, if something breaks, I just work around it rather than fixing it. So, for example, right?
That takes a certain
batteries,
type of person.
The batteries on my remote need changing.
Yeah.
Instead of changing the batteries, I just try harder until it works.
But if the batteries are dead, what do? Do you get up and change them, or do you go and switch it on the
I will
TV?
stop watching TV until someone else changes them.
Really?
Genuinely.
Jesus Christ, Mussin.
I don't know where the batteries are.
You need to.
Where are the batteries in this house?
Do you not have like a battery drawer?
If there is one, I don't know where it is.
You don't have a shit drawer in your house where basically there's like tons of stuff that don't
There
make sense.
must be one. Yeah, I'm sure there is.
It's usually in your kitchen.
It's probably in. I don't know. I'm sure there's batteries somewhere, but I don't know. I don't care, is what I'm saying.
Jesus, Muhsin.
Which is why I need to make enough. I need to make enough money in life to be the piece of shit that I've always known I am.
Okay.
I need to make enough money where I can afford to be the lazy person I am inside. So I
Right.
can have people to do the gardening, clean the house and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
all I need. I need to get there.
Is there a number in mind?
No. Because it's a moving figure, isn't it?
No, not really. I guess there's a number that allows you to do that.
No, because today's number isn't tomorrow's number.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like today's price isn't tomorrow's
Exactly.
price. Okay.
So
Muhsin.
today that price might be, let's say, 50 grand a year,
Yeah.
right? But in 10 years time from now, that's not going to be the same number.
What's the average UK salary?
It's a lot lower than you think. It's like 25k, maybe less.
Average UK salary 2021. 25,971. An increase of 0.3 compared to 2020. Source was standout-cv.com.
Let me ask you a question. To be in the top 5% of earners in the UK, how much do you think you need to earn?
Oh, we've talked about this before, haven't we?
Have we?
Yeah, I think so. Top 5%.
Don't go look it up. I want to hear what you
Okay.
say.
Top 5% of earners in the UK.
We have spoke about this.
I think we talked about 1%. Top 5%. 35,000. How much is it?
You stole my fucking thunder. It's 80,000. But
Is it?
yeah,
Oh, damn.
people always overestimate generally. They think it's more.
Well, I just found out what the
Yeah.
average was. Come on, man. Put yourself together.
If I made 80 grand a year, I'd be so happy with that money, man.
Is that 80 grand net or 80 grand gross?
Gross, probably.
Gross, that comes out as what, like just over 40k?
No, more. You don't
Because
get-
they take a staggered amount, right? Because of the
you don't.
the way the way
The
that you're
tax
taxed
rate goes up over
incrementally.
30. You'll pay the usual amount up until 36k,
Yeah.
and it goes up. So you'll be left with about 55 to 56k.
Okay, 56k is a lot of money.
No, sorry, 52k. You'll be left with
52K.
52k.
That's a huge amount of money still. That's enough to support a family of 4. Respectfully, and go on holidays if you manage your finances right.
Your family's very transparent about money. Your dad has meetings about money, innit?
Yep. Once a year we go through the books of everyone and him, and he goes, what can we cut out and what are we keeping?
Is it your dad's opportunity to flex his pay rise that year?
Nope. Although he does tell us when he gets a pay rise, and sometimes he doesn't, and then you notice his spending habits.
That's so the word's not bizarre, but different. Most families will not do that. Most people don't even know what their parents do for a living.
I didn't know what my dad did until I spent a lot of time with him in India and realized what exactly he does. But I think the biggest thing, the reason why he does this is because there's that old saying of the first generation makes the money, the second generation maintains the money. Well, first generation makes the wealth, second generation maintains the wealth, and the third generation like destroys it.
So what are you?
I'm the third generation.
Don't destroy it, you bastard.
Yeah, I know. So I've got to do my best to not destroy it. But because I've been brought up in a certain lifestyle, you get used to that. And if you don't earn that much, but you're living in that lifestyle because it's supported by your family or you're supported by other things, you get way too used to it and you start spending like you're on in your parents' salary. I fell into that fallacy, right? I thought when I was with him in India, I was a director. I was mentally talking and walking like he did, having conversations like he did. That's because I was around him. Then I come back to the UK and realize actually no one wants to hire me, in those positions because I actually have no experience. But you can't let that happen to you. You need to G-check yourself and be like, yo, I need to humble myself a little bit. I need to make the mistakes that my parents made, that my friends make, that every other person has made in the world, and go through that learning curve of, okay, how do I financially make myself literate? And having those open conversations about money, which is one of the things that most people won't. won't disclose, won't talk about. They'll ballpark a figure, and ballparking's fine. But I like to understand an estimate, because it's like, okay, so you earn this much. This is how you structure your life. And when someone shows you how to do that, or someone opens up their books and goes, this is how I do it, you learn. When you're talking in figures and X's and Y's and of like hypotheticals, it's like, it's very difficult to understand what exactly you need to do. Like, where did I pull out the number of 25%? Because I went and I researched, and I was like, okay, this is a figure I'm comfortable with. And that's why I chose it. And then when I realized that, you know, I needed to divert spending elsewhere, I had to reduce that figure or stop it entirely. Shouldn't be. You should put that money aside, and it should just go straight out your account and move it away. And, you know, you put money into investments if you can, you put money into savings if you can, you know, get yourself another savings account that isn't attached to your bank account. You put money back into your current savings, and then you live off your current account. And that's how I choose to do it. And when I go, and if I go into an overdraft, I make sure that I put it back in from the savings accounts that is attached to that. And that's just the way I like to operate. It might not be the right way. And if anyone's got a better way of doing it, I'm open to doing that way. But I make sure that I try and live within my means. Sometimes I don't. You know, there was that month in July when we were going out to, like, we went to Box Park, we went out for dinners, and we were doing a lot of things. And I think this is one of the first, this is when we started having the conversation about the podcast and the show. I was spending way out of my means, and I had to reel it back in. And you make a big time purchase, you have to reel it in. That's all it is.
And you reel it in so you can buy lovely hats.
Yep.
Yes. How long are we done?
52 minutes.
Should we do a quick Twitter quickfire and then wrap this up?
Let's do Twitter quickfire. Twitter.
Quickfire Twitter.
You like quickfire, don't you?
I do.
What is trending at the moment? I bet you it's heard crypto, and it's show crypto. Watford FC versus Chelsea FC is trending. Zendaya and Tom Holland just made their red carpet debut as a couple.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm so happy for him. I
good.
don't care.
He looks good. Virgil Abloh died. Passed away,
yeah, that's
sadly.
sad.
I didn't realize he was battling with cancer, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough on the fashion world.
He really left his mark on the world, right?
He did. He changed fashion.
Yeah,
most definitely. And I think that he kind of started the whole hype phase again, and he's really pushed the boundaries. And let's hope that it stays, and, you know, the world continues to get great artists like him. Oxford Street is trending. I don't know why. Sperm is being used to create an eco-friendly alternative to plastic.
If someone's looking to buy some sperm to make plastic, I've got some reserves. I'll sell some for the right price.
A 100 million British F-35 jet crashed into the sea after failing to take off.
So it just rolled into the water. I love the fact that there was someone on the side screaming, "Put the handbrake up! Put the handbrake up!"
Should you ask your friends to unfollow your ex?
Why?
That is trending. That is actually trending.
Who cares?
I don't care.
People need to grow up, man. It's not real. It's not real. And plus, you'll have some spies.
Is that what you do?
No.
Is there a group chat dedicated to your exes?
Absolutely not.
Okay. No. Omicron is starting to spread around the world. It's all hearsay these days. I don't even know what's going on.
No comment.
I don't know.
I don't want another lockdown.
I don't want another lockdown either. Boris Johnson should be fined £10,000 for lockdown parties in Downing Street.
He should be fined it, but if we fine him, we'll probably end up paying for it anyway.
This is very true. And then the rest of my feed is crypto. So
cool.
Yeah, unless you want to do another one of those,
I'm good. We got some good stuff out of that.
I enjoyed that. It was a good episode.
Do you want to tell them where they can go?
You know where you can go. And if you don't know where you can go, you go to 1 Minute Smoke on YouTube. You go to Smoke Sessions on Spotify and Apple Music. And on Instagram, it's 1 Minute Smoke. Enjoy, and thank you very much for listening. There is nothing there. You destroy a shisha. And you call yourself a comedian. Who do you think you are?
Are we done?
I want some proper conversation. And this is the first time I got that in 13 episodes. Thank you and good night. Muhsin, who do you think you are?
Are we done?